Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to take a quick look and review of the recent trailer for the DC superhero movies that are slated for release in 2022, the so-called DC The World Needs Heroes trailer. Now, to be honest, I was a bit surprised that this trailer, which is only about a minute long, and the fact that I thought they would have saved a lot of this footage for the upcoming Super Bowl, which takes place on Sunday. That's normally where we see a lot of the big hype superhero movies and event films that will be due for release later on this year. So I'm a bit surprised that they will release this footage so quickly before the Super Bowl. Now, there may be spoilers for all of the movies within the DC cinematic universe, or the Snyderverse, whatever you want to call it, when we review this footage, so just beware when going into this overall video. Now, the trailer overall, as I said before, was only about a minute long, and it covered the following 4 films. Of course, the Batman, the Matt Reeves reboot, which is due for release on March the 4th, 2022. Black Adam, starring Dwayne Johnson or The Rock in the lead role, is due for release on July the 29th. The Flash, starring Ezra Miller and featuring Michael Keaton returning in his role as Batman, is due for release in November 2022. And lastly, we have Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the sequel to the 2019 original, which grossed over $1 billion worldwide, and this movie is due for release in December 2022. Now, I'm not going to focus on the Batman footage, as the majority of it was what we've already seen from previous trailers and TV spots, and I've covered the movie on several videos within this channel, and you can check them out. I'll probably leave some links within the description so you can have a look at those at a later time. So we'll go straight to the Black Adam footage, which was probably most prominent throughout this trailer, giving us extended looks at all of the hero characters. And we take a look first at Dwayne Johnson in the role as Black Adam, and no doubt about it, he has all of the physical size and muscular condition that we already associate with the actor, and this aesthetic, I think, is perfect for Black Adam. You really want Black Adam to be this truly imposing figure that commands your attention whenever he's on screen, and I think the costume overall looks very good. It's very much the same as what we saw previously from DC fandom, that classic aesthetic of the black costume with the golden arrow on the chest there, so it all looks very good, and I'm sure Dwayne Johnson will bring about a lot of his imposing nature to the role. Now, the only criticism I have in terms of this look is that they could have gone a bit more further to make him look a bit more like Black Adam, and when I mention this, I'm primarily talking about the character in terms of his hair and his pointy ears. Those are two of the most distinctive features when we look at Black Adam overall, and I just think they could have gone a bit further in terms of adding those aesthetics to the overall character. And I only say this because when we look at all of these shots here, it very much looks as if it's just The Rock in a superhero costume rather than Black Adam himself. So I just hope that The Rock infuses much more of a character performance rather than just his own screen persona. We want to watch this movie and feel that we're watching Black Adam, not just Dwayne Johnson. Okay, so that's my overall concern when looking at these overall shots. Now, we look at another clip here where we see Black Adam being tortured or held captured. So it looks as if we'll get some sort of tragic arc for the character. He mentions that line where his son dreamt of a better world, and that's where he saved him. So I'm pretty much sure we're going to build that very much so. Probably within the earlier stages of the film, there'll be some tragic event or sacrifice involving Black Adam, and maybe he'll take a villainous turn to begin with, but as he encounters the other heroic characters, that will make him consider the error of his ways. Maybe that's the traditional story arc that they'll be building up for the character, but I just hope we add a lot of layers and depth to the character overall. I personally would have preferred to see Dwayne Johnson be far more of a villainous take in terms of Black Adam, but it seems as if they're going in a direction that he will be very much the more stoic leader of a group of superheroes. But we'll wait and see how well he performs in terms of the character. We then look at our first appearance of Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate in this shot here, and to be honest, I'm not completely convinced. It looks a bit too cheap and a bit too plastic for me. Not a lot of texture surrounding the costume overall. Now, to be fair, it's only one angled shot, so it's not very clear enough in terms of the costume. We really need a full frontal shot of the costume in its entirety, and it's always the case when we look at these superhero costumes, they always tend to look far more convincing in live action than what they do in stills. So I hold reservations for now, and I'm pretty much sure Pierce Brosnan will deliver a fine performance. And it very much seems, as we look at this earlier shot here where he talks to Black Adam, basically telling him that he's got to open himself up to the world, so it very much seems that Dr. Fate will be very much more of a mentor to Black Adam, and of course Pierce Brosnan, with all of his experience, will bring a lot of that gravitas to the role and the film. We then go on to Hawkman, and we get a full frontal shot here, and again, I'm not completely sold on this look. They've deviated a lot from the original comic book source material. Now, when we look at in terms of his wings, they've added very much more of a red and gold contrast colours to the wings, and they've gone for a more metallic material for the wings. Now personally, I always prefer the more organic versions in terms of the feathered look for the wings. I think it just gives that more primal, realistic look to the character. And so maybe the reason they went for the more metallic look is because perhaps it was easier to render in terms of the CGI effects. And again, I'm not really liking these red trousers that he's got on here, all these big forearm gauntlets that he's got. And this must be the final version of the character, because as we see from this shot, it's very much in a modern day setting. So maybe when we see the character and we reflect back on his backstory, we may get far more of the original look in terms of the Hawkman from the source material, and then later on we will build to this overall current look so far. So not a massive fan of this rendition of the character so far, but again we'll see as we get more shots later on with a full trailer, I may be convinced in a more positive direction. We then go on to the Atom Smasher, played by Noah Centineo, of course formerly known as He-Man. And I think this is a good look overall, very good giant figure here, imposing himself running around the cities on here. So nothing wrong with this particular shot. We have Cyclone, who is played by actress Quintessa Swindell. She looks fine here. I don't really know anything about the actress or indeed the Cyclone character itself. So I guess they had to mix up the diversity by having a female character alongside the team. No issues there at all. So overall, very mixed on the Black Adam footage overall, and we're just waiting now until we see that first full-on trailer for the movie. We then move on quickly to Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and to be honest, this footage wasn't very much. We had a couple of shots here where Aquaman is walking to the cliffs and we see him in a black costume. Looks fine overall. And then we had the other shot here where he's sitting very much on the throne of Atlantis, we assume. We see him here far more in a traditional gold armor plated costume with the green trousers as well. So whilst it's a very comic book accurate look of the character, the shot here just looks a bit too synthetic. It looks a bit too computerized, and that was probably my biggest criticism of the Aquaman movie from 2019. I just felt there was too much CGI in terms of some of the costumes and also a lot of the backgrounds and landscape. So again, when you take that direction too much, it really takes you out of the action overall. But not too much to say more about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. It's not due out for December yet, so a bit of a while to wait, I believe, before we see any extended footage of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And then we'll finish this video when we talk about The Flash, the Ezra Miller version. Now, we did get some quick preview shots within the footage shown within DC fandom, and we had really a lot of the same scenes here where he's walking around in the Batcave. We get a close-ups of the Flash costume here when they're very much exhibiting the crimson red design with all of the yellow lines across it. And I did like this particular shot here where he's very much giving that more typical running pose, and we get that close-up of his face. It just looks very dynamic, very Flash-like in many ways, that typical comic book look, so I like that pose. So whilst I'm not a massive fan of the Ezra Miller version of the character, I can't deny that this shot here looks very good and true to the Flash itself. We still didn't get any reveals of Michael Keaton, and to be honest, I'm not really surprised. They clearly want to save that, perhaps for the Super Bowl footage, or maybe even later on down the line. Now, I assume we'll still get in DC fandom for 2022, maybe in October. So I'd imagine they'd want to reveal Michael Keaton before that, because I feel October will be too near the release of the film, which is obviously a month after in November. So we may not get any extended footage of Michael Keaton in the Super Bowl if we do get any extended version, but I would anticipate certainly within the next 2 to 3 months we'll get a certain look at the character. Maybe there'll be a trailer for The Flash that we put ahead with the Black Adam movie. That'll be a realistic timeline where we can expect to see far more footage of the character. And of course, everybody's anticipating the first big reveal of Michael Keaton back in the iconic costume look as Batman. So overall, in terms of the overall footage, I'd say it's not bad. Again, I was a bit surprised that they released this footage now and didn't wait for the Super Bowl trailer. Does it leave me any more enthusiastic for the DC cinematic universe as a whole? Probably not really, I would say. I'm a bit mixed on all of the projects so far. I still think for me, I'm most anticipating the Black Adam out of all of the 4 projects. In terms of The Flash, I'm not a big fan of the multi-universe storyline that they're taking on here. I think a lot of it is just fan service. They still don't really have a clue as to the direction they're taking with the universe. And I wouldn't be surprised if The Flash does indeed end up being some sort of rebooting of the DC cinematic universe, which I've always stated is the best strategy. They need to reboot what's gone on before and basically start again. In terms of making money, I believe the highest grossing movie will probably be between Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and the Batman. I stated in a previous video covering the Batman, I believe that movie will probably make around $800 million worldwide, and because Aquaman the first movie made $1 billion, I'd expect a similar total being reached for the sequel, even though it does have competition in December because it's being released alongside Avatar 2. But I still believe Aquaman and Lost Kingdom will go on to be one of the biggest grossing movies of the year as well. So those are my thoughts and feelings on this DC The World Needs Heroes trailers. Very mixed on some shots overall, and I'm not any more hyped or enthusiastic for the DC Cinematic Universe going forward. Again, I'd like to see one singular continuity rather than a multiverse, but we will wait and see when all of these movies arrives, and of course when all of them do arrive, I will provide reviews and commentary on the films themselves and obviously how well they perform within the box office, so look out for all of those videos that you can check out within the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you any more hyped or excited for the DC Cinematic Universe? Or do you think it should just be rebooted altogether and we should basically start again? Let me know what you think in the comments. Please also hit and like those subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.